What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the final word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network on this Wednesday, November the 13th, 2024, with your boy MattyB on the call. The final episode of the final word this week due to the scheduling requirements of Flyers hockey, Eagles football, and everything else that's going on around this damn town tomorrow. And we're not going to be back for the show tomorrow night because I do have post-game Flyers obligations tomorrow. So this is it. This is the final word of the week. So we're going to get into some things. We're going to try to kick some things up. Actually, somewhat of a slow night, I guess, on the sports landscape. Flyers not playing. Sixers are playing, but who gives a damn about that? Eagles are getting ready for potentially their biggest game in a while, a long while, a year, and not only this game against the Commanders tomorrow night, but the stretch of games over the next 7 weeks, pretty much the rest of the way. Is it a gauntlet? I ain't going to call it a gauntlet. It ain't nothing like it was last year, but there are some definite interesting teams awaiting the Eagles over the course of the next few weeks. So we're going to get into that a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit baseball. Philly is back kind of in the news a little bit, trying to get some traction in the old MLB free agency trade wars. MLB awards continue. Tomorrow, a big day on that stage. We'll talk a little bit about that. And maybe we'll kick around a little Flyers. And we do have the Flyer prospect of the night because we have only done one so far this week, I think. Have we done two? Maybe we've done two. But we're going to do another one anyway. We're going to do a Flyer prospect tonight, as well as, of course, MattyB's card review segment that we do every night. So big, huge night, but let's get it all kicking off with what we do every single night is your day in Philadelphia sports history. And I'm going to go way back to the illustrious year of 1994 for this one. On this day in 1994, the Philadelphia Eagles, that's right, it's an Eagles point, lost to the Cleveland Browns 26-7. You might be thinking, what the hell does that have to do with anything, Matt? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because if those of you who were around like I was in 1994 know that the Eagles began that season an illustrious 7-2. 7-2. First place NFC East. You want to hear about Super Bowl talk. I remember that fateful season. And that was all we talked about was at 7-2. Now, when they got to 7-2 on a Monday night shellacking of the Minnesota Vikings, a team that was, at that point of the season in 94, the best in the NFC. And the Eagles played them on Monday Night Football. It would have been like last week in 94. Yeah. And the Eagles took them to task. Went to 7-2, and all systems were go, but until today. 26-7 losers to the Cleveland Browns, which then lit off a chain of events where the Eagles would finish the season on a 7-game losing streak, thus ending the year 7-9, not making the playoffs, and thankfully, mercifully, firing of Rich Kotite would follow soon after that. But this season was heavily on my mind. The 94 season was heavily on my mind last year, as we saw the wheels kind of wobbling off the Eagles cart going down the stretch of the final 6 games of the season. And tomorrow night, it just seems to all tie in together. In my opinion, they're going to start a stretch of games that are going to define the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. So on this night, on Jeffrey Lurie's very first year as the owner of this team, back in 94, the Eagles lost to the Cleveland Browns, setting off a chain of events that would lead them to lose the next 7 games, to include the game today, and then finish the season at 7, thus not making the playoffs and the firing of Rich Kotite. Which then, of course, after about 3 years, Ray Rhodes came in 95. They had a moniker of success with Rhodes in 95, 96. 97, they were, 6-8-1 or something like that. 97, and then 98, the wheels came off again. And then Andy Reid shows up, and the rest, as they say, is history. But on this night, or this day back in 94, the 7-game losing streak of the 94 season began with a 26-7 loss to the Cleveland Browns. And that is your moment in Philadelphia sports history, brought to you by the fine folks here over at It's a Wrap Sports, who desperately, I don't want to, do I sound too desperate by saying desperately? But they desperately need your help as they're trying to build this network. Notice I say they, like I'm like separating myself from my own network, but we need your help over here on It's a Wrap. So please go down there and like and subscribe and tell a friend who tells a friend who tells a friend, and you know how that all goes. So there you have it. Your night in Philadelphia sports history. The Eagles lose to the Cleveland Browns in '94, thus setting off the 7-game losing streak, and all that came after that. But so tomorrow night, the Philadelphia Eagles will go down to South Philadelphia, and they will battle the Washington Commanders with first place of the NFC East in their grasp, on the line. This is definitely the start of the 2024 season. The Eagles have done what they needed to do up to this point to get them in a position to play in this game, to battle the Washington Commanders for first place in the NFC East. And with all the 5-game winning streak hype, and we talked about this in nauseum last night, but we're going to definitely go through it again because this is your daily affirmation session of pump your brakes time. The Eagles, on the heels of a 5-game winning streak, are going to go in against the Commanders and smelling themselves, feeling it. You know, the Nick Sirianni talk is now turned off and has gone completely to the other side of it all by claiming he's a winner. Nick Sirianni's a winner. It's like saying France wins. I mean, it just doesn't match. It doesn't go together. And we discussed that last night too. What is the definition of a winner? That's what I want to know. And maybe that's the problem. I said it last night. I guess I have an inherent ingrained in my DNA that a winner to me means the champion. That to me means winner, the champion. Nick Sirianni's not the champion. Nick Sirianni has never been a champion. None of the Philadelphia Eagles, with the exception of Brandon Graham, Elliott, and who else is left on that team from the 17 Super Bowl? I guess they're the only two. Wow, they're the only two left? Okay, wow. They might be the only two left. But they're the only champions on that team. And to be honest with you, the nauseum of the justification, the Eagles fans who go around trying to fool themselves into something that's not there, trying to say things to make them go to sleep at night, just burns my biscuits, man, and to a point where I have to go on these lunatical rants every single night. And I've been trying to stay away from it. I don't know if you've checked out the first 22 episodes of this show. It's been very even keeled, MattyB. But MattyB is starting to slip. He's going off the rails again because I'm tired of being that middle-of-the-road kind of guy, listening to this dreck coming from the other side. Because Nick Sirianni is not a winner. He's not a winner. And not because I hate Nick Sirianni and not because I'm out on the Philadelphia Eagles. That's not why he's not a winner. He's not a winner because he hasn't won. He hasn't won the ultimate prize. And that's what it's all about. And lately in this town, of the best, most passionate, lovable sports fans on the planet, we have entered this phase of our fandom that's more of a acceptance of not winning, or trying to create winning from nothing and saying that we're winners because he's got a great over 500 record. He's been to the playoffs a couple times. He's been to the Super Bowl, whatever. But he hasn't won the Super Bowl, nor has Jalen Hurts or anybody else, but the exception of Elliott and Brandon Graham. So the definition of winner, he's not. And I'm not, again, I am not trying to be the negative Nancy here. I'm not. I'm just letting you all know that he's not a winner by the definition. Now, by this sappy Philadelphia sports 2024 definition of excuseaholics out there, then maybe he is a winner in your mind's eye, but he's not a winner. And there's only been one winning Super Bowl quarterback in this town. It's Nick Foles. One winning Super Bowl head coach in this town. His name is Doug Peterson. And I'm just putting it out there. And maybe I'm too rigid. Maybe I'm too off the reservation myself. I don't know. Or maybe I grew up in a different time when men were men and the rest of you were afraid. So again, maybe it's all the above. But Nick Sirianni's not a winner. He's just not. And but on Thursday night, tomorrow night, he can continue to build that legacy towards being a winner as they are in a do or die situation. Do or die? Is this panic mode? Is this win at all costs? Is this the season right here? I'd say it is, as close as it can be in week 11. Eagles have to go out tomorrow night in front of the home crowd on the national spotlight on Thursday Night Football, and they have to win it in all means possible. Not style points. I don't care about that. I don't care how they get there. They got to get there. And it's going to go a long way into solidifying the Eagles as a legitimate Super Bowl team in 2024. Now, you're never going to make me believe they're a legitimate Super Bowl team in 2004 until they're actually holding the Super Bowl trophy on February 13th. Then I'll believe they're a Super Bowl team. But it's hard for me to wrap my head around a team to win a Super Bowl who refuses to throw the ball to the middle of the field. What were the numbers we went over last night? 254 pass attempts by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2024, and 28 of them have gone over the middle of the field. Last week, 20 pass attempts from Jalen Hurts, and only 3 of them went over the middle of the field. So you're going to have a hard sell with me that to make me believe that an offense that does not use the middle of the field, that lives on the outside edges and lives with the rushing attack, is going to win a Super Bowl. I'm just I'm sorry. I'm just not going to buy that. Which will then get me to my next point, which of course is your quarterback, and I'll get into that here momentarily. But it's just the way it is, man. It's just old MattyB. No, hey, what's up, man? Al, MattyB, some crazy Phillies rumors throwing. Yes, Garrett Crochet is involved in a rumor. Allegedly, there's a trade pending, or there's something happening. Alec Bohm is out there on the trade block as well. Maybe that's the same deal. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to get to some Phillies talk a little bit later on there, Al. I promise you that. Does Matty believe in the Eagles? No, I do not, Al. Did you not just hear? Did you not hear me? No, I do not. Lane Johnson. Oh, yes. Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, and Jake Elliott. They're the 3 players that left on the team. Well, yes, that's right. I miss Lane Johnson. He is on the team. Yes, MattyB talking in the third person. I am. That's because that's how I roll. That's my defense mechanism, so I don't have to accept my own imperfection. The third person, but yeah. So the Eagles, and moving on now to your quarterback. I've heard some bravado about quarterbacks and I heard a show today, and I won't name the host or the network, but I heard it. And it was, again, the excuse train rolling from Jalen Hurts. I mean, woo, going down the rails, man. Again, we as Philadelphia sports fans are constantly looking outward and comparing our struggles with other teams' struggles, or comparing our situations with other teams' situations, and living off that power teat, so to speak, feeding off of that. And the conversation went to Jalen Hurts, and some nonsensical nonsense about Jalen Hurts as an MVP this year. Currently, I guess he's 4th in the league right now, and no one's voting for the MVP. I don't know how you assess who's in what position in the MVP voting. I don't know if it's a Vegas thing, whatever, but I guess he has the 4th highest odds. Maybe it is a Vegas thing. 4th highest odds of winning the MVP. And I don't know who the hell's watching that and where those numbers are coming from. Because what I see from Jalen Hurts a serviceable, above-average quarterback, 100%. As far as the other quarterbacks, or the majority of, we've seen with our own eyes the last 5 weeks some god-awful quarterback play. And thank God it ain't that bad here. And Jalen Hurts does not fit in the category of any of those guys, which I will give them that hands down. Jalen Hurts is not a Deshaun Watson. He is not a Dan Jones. He is not who was the guy Cooper Rush / Trey Lance / Dak Prescott. He's not any of those guys, right? I will give you that 100%, no argument here. But he's also not a Josh Allen, and he's also not a Joe Burrow, in my opinion. And he's also not and certainly not a Pat Mahomes. And the conversation flipped to, it doesn't necessarily matter your consistency throughout a season. It matters your ability to get the team there on a game-by-game basis, which isn't that consistency throughout the season? I mean, isn't that the same thing as saying it, but just differently? And then the whole thing with Super Bowl history in the lore of quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, and Nick Foles being one that comes right to mind. Obviously, he was not obviously a legendary quarterback, but he was the riding a hot hand, so to speak, at that time, and he led us to a Super Bowl and all that. And I agree with all that 100%. But we weren't paying Nick Foles $260 million a season or $260 million over the next 5 years. Nick Foles wasn't getting a $1.6 million game check every week, right? We're paying this guy, Jalen Hurts, as an elite quarterback, but he's not producing elite numbers. So I understand what you guys are all trying to get yourselves to sleep with. Totally get that. But we're paying the guy like he's an elite quarterback. We're paying the guy like he's top 3, and he's certainly not that. Why don't you think the Eagles throw to the middle of the field? What's the reason you have for that? Because they don't trust their quarterback to navigate an offense using the middle of the field. A Kellen Moore offense is predicated on the quick hitters. It's predicated on the slants. It's predicated on all that stuff. We don't run any of that here because we don't trust the quarterback for whatever reason. Was it because he couldn't pick up the playbook? He's tired of learning new offenses, doesn't have the mental acuity to learn a new offense? I don't know the reason. I'm just telling you the results of that reason are the Moriarty offense, right? The hybrid between Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni that uses the rush, which they should, and then uses the outside edges with the dominant play of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But they don't use the middle of the field. So, again, ask that question. One, how can you call your quarterback an elite? And also, the 24 turnovers in the last 31 games. How can you call that elite? How can you call that elite? How can you call not using the middle of the field elite? And how can you call the constant excuses about, well, he's getting better. Oh, he's learning. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's not holding the ball quite as long as he was. He's picking up blitzes a little bit better. The guy's already been paid the bag. So why are we still talking about his learning curve? I don't know the world you guys came from or whatever, but usually when you're training and you're perfecting your job, you get the raise once you perfect your job. You don't get the raise first and then learn your job as you go. It doesn't work like that. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say that the other side of that coin would be to get rid of Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying that. No, 100% I'm not saying that. But I fear that Jalen Hurts is going to go down the same road as every other quarterback in this town with the exception of Nick Foles. The woulda, coulda, shouldas. If we would have had this for him, if we wouldn't have changed offensive coordinator so many times, if we would have done this, that, and the other thing for him, maybe he would have won. Same thing we say about McNabb. Same thing we say about Cunningham. Same thing we say about Jaworski. All the franchise quarterbacks, there's always an excuse run next to them about what we could have done better to support that quarterback. What made the exception of Carson Wentz? I don't think no, that was all on him. That's all on Wentz. But I think that's where Jalen Hurts is headed. So yes, is he above average? Is he a great option as a starting quarterback? Is he a starting quarterback caliber in the NFL? 100%. But is he elite? Is he top 2, top 5? No. Not even close to it. And then they always go to what was the comparisons I was hearing today? Oh, you can't expect to have a Tom Brady. You can't expect to have a Pat Mahomes. You can't expect to have the legendary quarterbacks of this game. Well, why can't you? Because the Kansas City Chiefs have it. The 49ers had it. The Patriots had it. Why can't we have it? So why are we downgrading ourselves? Why are we saying we're not good enough to have those types of quarterbacks, but other teams are? We got to keep looking for them. And we got to stop falling in love with a player based off of one season. And I'm as guilty as everybody else. I threw away the old Jalen Hurts, you suck chart after 2022. I did. I was on board. I thought he was going to be something other than that. His sports cards went through the roof in 2022. If you didn't sell in 22, you were a fool. That stuff is coming back down to earth. But I bought in on it, and it hasn't worked. I bought it in 2017 on Carson Wentz as well. I mean, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a great prognosticator. But the thing is, I'm not also around these guys every day. I'm not around the football team every day. I don't write the checks for the team. And especially coming off of the Wentz situation, don't you think Howie would have been a little bit more, cautious about giving the money away this time again? And I don't know if moving off of Hurts is going to be as easy as moving off of Wentz. Not because of the value of the player. I think if we decide to trade Jalen Hurts right now today, there would be a team that would take him, and there would be an immense return value for him. But I'm just saying, hitching our wagon to yet another potential above average quarterback and propping him up to be this great elite machine is a mistake. He's not an MVP, because I hear the MVP talk about him on one side of the Eagle fans' mouths. On the other side of the Eagles fans' mouth, I hear all this, well, you can't have the best all the time. You can't have the Pat Mahomes all the time. You can't have Joe Montana's all the time. So which is it, man? Is he an MVP or is he not elite? Which one is he? Stop hanging around the middle of the road and make a decision. Come up with an actual standard for him. So with all this great hype, 7-2. Do I need to remind you that they were 13-20? The teams that the Eagles just ran through, and they didn't really run through them. They struggled with a couple of them. But the teams they just beat, the last 5 games, the combined record of those teams were 13-25. The combined record of those teams were 13-25. The combined record of the teams remaining on the Eagles schedule is 40-30. So there's a little bit of a difference here now, right? We're coming out of a stretch of games where we play teams that were 13-25, and now we're going up against a 40-30 stretch of teams. So we're going to find out, just like my point on the Philadelphia sports history moment. Tonight was in '94. It felt like this. No, actually, it felt better for me because I was in '94. I was on board with the Eagles. And when that happened, when I started watching that with my own eyes come apart week after week after week down the stretch, it tore my heart out, man. That's why in last season, in 22 or 23, when I saw the same thing brewing, I had the foresight to veer off the highway and go an alternate way because I knew what was coming. And it didn't hurt as much. And also because I'm out. But, it didn't hurt as much as it did 94. So we're at week 11. We're not at week 16. We're not at week 17. We got a whole half season left to play. We've been down this road before. Stop with the damn Eagles Super Bowl talk. Stop with the Jalen Hurts MVP talk. And stop calling Nick Sirianni a winner. Because he's not. He is not a winner. Is he a winning coach at this particular moment in time? He's got a winning record, absolutely. But does he have a Super Bowl championship? Because that, to me, is a winner. And again, if you think my bar is too high, if you think I've set a too high bar to judge our players and our teams and our coaches by the hardware that they win while they're here, then either things have gone really off the rails in Philadelphia, or maybe I'm just too old. And maybe it's time for me just to go off and be by myself. I don't know. It could be. I'm not putting that aside from anything. But stop it with the nonsensical Eagles are a Super Bowl team. Stop it with the nonsensical Nick Sirianni's a winner. And please stop talking about Jalen Hurts as an MVP. Saquon Barkley has a bigger chance of winning the MVP, in my opinion, than Jalen Hurts does. And they haven't given out an MVP to a running back since 2012. And I think Saquon Barkley has a bigger opportunity to win the MVP than Jalen Hurts does. That's just the way I see it, man. We can't have nice things, apparently. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Al? What do you mean we can't have nice things? Are you trying to say that, are you trying to make an excuse that people are bagging on your nice things? I need further clarification for what you mean, because that could mean many different things. And now, Al, unfortunately, when it comes to excuses, I mean, let's face it, brother, you're kind of up there with the greats, all right? So a lot of your opinions, I mean, they're tempered in the excuse world, and I don't want to bring up the excuse emporium, but I didn't name that after me. I named it after you. So again, I understand what your point is, but I'm just not buying it, man. I just can't buy it. I'm sorry, I just can't buy it. And the whole, you can't expect to have a Pat Mahomes or a Tom Brady. What the hell not? Why expect that? The other teams do. The Patriots got it. Chiefs got it. Hell, Andy Reid drafted Pat Mahomes. I mean, I know Andy Reid was very close to trying to draft Russell Wilson when he was here. And maybe that would have changed the fortunes of this franchise. I don't know. But yeah, why can't we? Why can't we have those quarterbacks? And why is it always? I mean, the 49ers went from back-to-back franchise quarterbacks, right? They went from Joe Montana to Steve Young. Okay? So what was that? I mean, they had to do some work to get those two. When you look at the situation with the Patriots, that was generational. That'll never happen again with Tom Brady. And then, of course, Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes was plucked out of college by Andy Reid, who knows what he's doing when it comes to player personnel. So why can't we have that? I'm just saying. And why do we have to stop accepting for lesser and trying to make lesser look more and look better? It's okay to say Jalen Hurts is not an elite quarterback. That's absolutely okay because that's what he is. He's an above average starting quarterback in the NFL. And that's okay to say that too because there's a lot of teams out there that don't even have that. But to call him an elite, to call him an MVP candidate is hooey. It's nonsensical rantings of a deranged fan base who's trying to make excuses for the reality that they see in front of their face. Just one guy's opinion here. That's all I'm just trying to put it out there like that to be very impartial about it. That's what I am. I'm Mr. Middle of the Road. It just to me doesn't make any sense at all. But tomorrow night, Jalen Hurts has another opportunity. Nick Sirianni has another opportunity to have me eat my own words as they will go up against the Washington Commanders and their own rookie phenom quarterback who, to be honest with you, if somebody wanted me, if I could not redraft, but if there was like a halfway point in the season where we could like redraft all the quarterbacks in the NFL, I would take Jalen Daniels right now over Jalen Hurts. I would. If just for this season. You don't know what Daniels is going to be going forward. But if we could just make a move for this season to strengthen our club and everybody has an opportunity to redraft their quarterbacks for 2024, the stretch run, I would give up on Jalen Hurts. I would take Daniels right now. Absolutely. I think he is, again, speaking from the 2024 standpoint, he is the rookie of the year. And he might, he's going to lead the Commanders back to the playoffs. In what fashion? Are they going to win the division? Well, I picked them to win the division, so I say I hope so. And I hope they get back to the playoffs as division winners. But what the hell? Well, why? Why? Who is Nina Mullen? You better not. I can't have conversations with women. I'm married and my wife is insanely jealous. So whoever you are, Nina Mullen, I need you to understand that, all right? Now, what you do when you private DM me, that's between me and you, but don't be pushing stuff out over the airwaves because you could get old MattyB in trouble there. But no, that's my wife. Oh, man. Matty, middle of the B road. Matty, middle of the road B. Yeah, that's me, middle of the road. Yeah, but what did Mr. Miyagi say? You go left side, okay. Go right side, okay. Down middle, no good. Squish like grape. Yeah, so I don't know if that's good. I really don't. But right now, all right, leave me alone. Right now, the Eagles have an opportunity to take over first place in the NFC East. They have an opportunity to shut me up. And they have an opportunity to go into the stretch run of this season, unlike what the 94 team did with losing to the Cleveland Browns on this day. But they have an opportunity to go into that stretch run, which will feature matchups between them, the Rams, the Ravens, Ravens, Steelers, Carolina, the Commanders again, the Giants, Panthers, and Cowboys, which is not, as I said, I'm not calling that a gauntlet at all, because it's not a gauntlet. It ain't nothing like it was going into the stretch run of last season. But it's still there's still some landmine games out there. And I really think they need to go out on Thursday night. If there's a game that they leave everything they possibly can on that field, if there's a game that they play the best that they could ever play, that everybody just says we're going to leave it all out there. It's a Super Bowl-like game because it's a statement game. It's a swing game in the standings. It's It's a conference game, divisional game, head-to-head, all that. It's a swing game in the standings, and it's literally for first place. And it's on national television, and it's on Thursday Night Football, the only game in town. Everyone's going to be watching it. This is the Eagles' opportunity to send a message to the NFL that everybody underestimated us. We're back, NFC East is ours, and the road through the Super Bowl, at least through the NFC East, goes through Philadelphia. And if they go into this game with any other mindset, any other lesser mindset, it's criminal. And it says a lot about the team's character, and it says a lot about your loser head coach, Nick Sirianni. So if they go into the game thinking that this is the Super Bowl, this is their Super Bowl, they may come out okay. Because they are a talented team. I'll give you that. On paper, they're very talented. But why don't they throw the ball to the middle of the field? Why do they go 60% of the field is left virgin? Virgin. Every single game. Because this team does not commit to the middle of the field. And why do they do that? Because they don't trust their quarterback to navigate the middle of the field. They don't trust them with the quick hitters and the slants. They don't. They don't consistently trust them. And how are you going to win a Super Bowl like that? How are you going to win a Super Bowl with your elite quarterback who cannot throw to the middle of the field? Again, that's another thing. He doesn't use the whole field, but yet he's elite. He's an MVP type quarterback. He's turned the ball over 24 times in the last 31 games. That's elite. I'm having a hard time. And I heard someone say it today. Well, again, on the lines of he's getting better. He's reading defenses better. He's not holding on to the ball that long anymore. Are we still in training day? He's been paid. Why are we not expecting the results of an elite quarterback when he makes $1.6 million a game? Accept what he is, and it's not a bad thing. He's a decent quarterback, but he's not elite. Repeat after me. He's not elite. Golly. I think we are crowning Jayden Daniels. Absolutely, Al. That's why I said just for this year. Right now, Jayden Daniels is the guy for this year. I'm not committing to him long term. I want to redraft the season, redraft quarterbacks for only 2024, for the remainder of 6-7 games we have left. In the offseason, we cut bait and we find a new quarterback. Right now, he's the hot hand. Right now, he is the guy. NFL's defensive coordinators will probably figure him out this summer. Absolutely, I agree. And I don't have long-term designs on him. I'm not going to pay him the money after 1 year, all right? I just want him now because I think he would unlock the missing piece of this Eagle offense. Absolutely unlock it. I don't see the same scared look in the eye. Not scared. Scared is the wrong word. I don't see the same confused look in the eye that I see in Jalen Hurts when Jayden Daniels goes back to pass. You know what I see in his eyes? A killer. The eye of the tiger, Rock. That's what I see. All right, when Jayden Daniels goes back to pass. I don't see a confused quarterback trying to process multiple checkdowns. I see a guy who's ready to attack a sliver of light that he sees. He's going to attack it. I don't see indecision. I don't see cowardness. I don't see him holding on to the ball and looking around 17 different places. Right now, I don't see that. Now, I may see that in 2025 when they make adjustments, but I don't want him for 25. I just want him for the rest of the season. Because the rest of the schedule for us at Mid-Washington tomorrow is absolutely 100%. I think if this is what? Is this on the same level of the 49er game last week? Is that at the same type of hype? You know, the Eagles were coming in riding high. Remember that? They just beat Buffalo in overtime. They beat Kansas City the week prior to that. And they were riding high into that 49er game at home. And it all fell apart. And not only did that game fall apart, but the entire season fell apart from that point forward. Is this bigger than the 49er game? Is it lesser than the 49er game? Or does it have the same level? Or is it a whole different level, different direction, but important? I think it's bigger because of everything that happened last year. I think it's bigger because we don't have the 49ers on our schedule this year until the playoffs if we happen to see them. We don't have that opportunity to repay them in the regular season. We have an opportunity to take down right now our division rival, the team that's challenging the Eagles right now in the NFC East, the upstart. We have an opportunity to put them back down in their place. And a loss on Thursday night, I think will have echoing ramifications further into the season. Am I claiming? Do I think it'll have the effects of a 2023 what was it? What they do? Lost 6 out of the last 7. I'm not saying that because I don't think the schedule's that hard for them going down the stretch, and I don't see that happening. But I do see them losing their grip on the NFC East, and I don't think they get it back after this. I don't think they can catch the Commanders if they lose tomorrow night. I really don't see that. I have not looked at the Washington schedule up to this point. I know that they play a similar schedule than the Eagles. They play the NFC South just like the Eagles do because they're both in the NFC East. They do play the NFC. Who was the geographical? It would be the NFC North. They play the NFC North. We're playing the NFC North this year, right? Yes, the NFC North. So they play the NFC South. So who are they playing? But they're probably playing like Tennessee, out of the NFC South. So, they were a third place team last year, so I don't know. I'm just saying that I think tomorrow night is a big opportunity. Too big to let go. Too big to not put all the eggs in the basket and go out there like it's their Super Bowl. Eagle fans need it. They deserve it. Jalen Hurts can go out there and shut a lot of people up tomorrow night, right? Saquon Barkley continuing on his MVP-like season. As I said, I would give the MVP to Saquon Barkley before I give it to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not even in my top 10 right now. Jalen Hurts is he's just not. But the Eagles could go out there tomorrow night and shut a lot of people up. Now, they still have to go out and win the next 6 games or whatever it is, but tomorrow night goes a long way and all that. So tomorrow, Eagles and Commanders, and right here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. Kyle and me will break down the Commanders game. We'll recap and review that Dallas Cowboy game, and we will break down the Eagles-Commanders Thursday night affair from South Philadelphia. And then after the Flyers game tomorrow night, I will be back with the post game for the Flyers game. So while the Eagles game is happening, I will be breaking down Flyers and Senators from Ottawa, as the Flyers will be back at it tomorrow. Hopefully, you can get that 7th win and get the season back on track. So, big day here on the network tomorrow. As that's a big day every day, man. Because whenever I can get on here and you guys see my smiling face, it's a big day. I rule the nights. Yep, I rule the nights. But let's transition to the major leagues. Major League Baseball. Last night, they announced the Silver Sluggers. And we went over that. I went over all the Silver Sluggers from both leagues. Bryce Harper, of course, winning his 4th Silver Slugger award in his career. First time winning one for first base. And tomorrow, huge day in the postseason awards for MLB. They will be naming their all MLB teams tomorrow. They will also be naming the Hank Aaron Award winners and the relief pitchers of the year winners, and the Edgar Martinez Outstanding Designated Hitter Award. I didn't even know they had an award for a DH, but apparently they do, as well as the Comeback Player of the Year awards. All that is happening tomorrow in Major League Baseball. Now, how does that affect the Phillies? Well, the Phillies currently have 9 nominees currently on the All NL MLB team. Too many damn letters there. They have 9 of the players of the Phillies represented as finalists to be part of the All NL team in 2024. Now, this is a honor given to players based on regular season stats and regular season stats alone. So, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Hoffman, Sanchez, Suarez, Wheeler, Bohm. They were all on this list. I think Schwarber's there too. So there's 9 Phillies represented on the All NL team. It's too many letters. So the Phillies will have an opportunity. Hopefully, one of them gets on there, or 2 of them make it, and we can continue to stockpile the hardware. Of course, just one trophy so far for the Phillies in the postseason. They got the Silver Slugger Award, but Zach Wheeler is a finalist for Cy Young. I don't think Rob Thompson made the cut for Manager of the Year. Thank God. But tomorrow's an opportunity for the Phillies and for Kyle Schwarber as well. When they name the Edgar Martinez DH of the Year. I mean, what are we doing, man? Does the hot dog guy have an award? Does the most obnoxious fan of the year award, is that being given out? What about the best Phillies postgame show? What's that award? Am I a finalist? Are we a finalist here on the Fighting's Final? Because I think we should be, if they have such a thing. And if not, I should start one. Just for us, just for the Fighting's Final. We win it every year. So, but anyway, the awards continue to roll through tomorrow. We'll be going all the way up to November 22nd with giving out postseason baseball awards. Now, the big ones, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, the Hank Aaron, and then, of course, the MVPs coming up a little bit later on this month. Now, on the baseball hot stove front, warming your hands on the hot stove, the Phillies are in the mix for apparently in the talk for Garrett Crochet, the coveted, who seems like he's up on the trade block every offseason for that dreadful Chicago White Sox team. He's a pitcher from the White Sox who the Phillies were allegedly looking at to acquiring him at the trade deadline along with Luis Roberts. Neither one of those trades went down. Crochet is actually under team control. It's funny because he signed a one-year deal for 25. He's actually arbitration eligible in 26. His third arbitration eligibility year is in 26. So if a team does acquire him, they got him for 2 years before he hits UFA in 27. So the question is, would he be a good fit here in Philadelphia? Now, the simple answer is as hell yeah. Absolutely hell yeah. We have a problem. We have some depth issues in our starting rotation. You don't know what Ranger Suarez is going to be next season. You don't know if Christopher Sanchez can replicate what he did in 2024. You don't know, of course, Taijuan Walker, if he's ever even going to pitch again for the Phillies. And then the biggest question marks is obviously Andrew Painter and where he fits into all this. So when you add all that up, the Phillies are short a pitcher heading into the 25 season right now. They're short a reliable, every fifth day starting pitcher. And Crochet would actually fit that mold well. It's a safety blanket move for me. I mentioned this earlier in earlier episodes when we talked a bit about my plan for the 25 Phillies and who I wanted to pursue in free agency. I said James Paxton. He's a free agent from the Red Sox. But I need a pitcher who I could put in as my fifth, as my fourth, and as my third. I need a pitcher that I can slide up and down my rotation with the exception of the 1 and 2 holes. But I don't need a Matt Moore. No, I don't need a Chase Anderson. I don't need a guy that's destined for the fifth spot. I need a guy that has some versatility between 3 and 5 because I don't know what's going on with my 3. Is Ranger Suarez going to be able to bounce back? Was it an injury that he was dealing with? And is that injury going to clear up and he's going to be ready to go by spring training and opening day? I don't know if Chris Sanchez can do what he did in 2024 again. And obviously I don't have a fifth starter to begin with. So I need a fifth starter who can bounce up and down the rotation. But now, Crochet is going to come with a price tag. And I've heard the names being rumored, of course, are Justin Crawford and Aiden Miller, who are some of the young talent that we have in our system right now. And I was railing all last year when during the trade deadline as we were getting close to it, that I am not about blowing up the minor league system for a rental player. Is Crochet a rental player? Or he's under team control for 2 years. I don't think he's a rental player. Does he fit the team window of winning? Does he fit the opportunity to win a World Series? Would he be a great asset in trying to win a World Series? 100% yes on all those questions. But will you factor in another problem that I have for this team? Because it's not just the starting rotation that's the issue this year. It is center field where Justin Crawford can play. And it is third base where Aiden Miller can play. So I don't want to spite my nose in spite of my face either. I don't want to do that. Because I may have, and I do have, positions to fill in center field and on third base, especially if we decide to move off of Alec Bohm. Who's going to play third base? I mentioned signing Gino Urshela from the Yankees, who's a free agent. But I don't want to sign anybody long-term as a third baseman because I got a potential generational in Aiden Miller coming up through the minor leagues. He's my third baseman for the next 10 years or until he proves he can't do it. So I'm not going to lock myself into a Gio Urshela for 5 or 6 years or an Alex Bregman for about 5 or 7 years when I don't necessarily need to do that. I need a bridge to Miller. I need a bridge to Miller time. That's what I need. So I'm not all about trading off of Aiden Miller. I really am not. And then center field. The outfield is in a shambles right now. We have no viable options in left field, and we don't have any viable options in center field either. Johan Rojas is not the answer. He needs to go back to Lehigh Valley. He actually needs to go to AAA and play there for a season. He's never done that before in his career. He's had a cup of coffee at AAA, and that's it. So he needs to go to AAA and work himself out. Am I done with him forever? No. I think he's an asset with his speed, and his defense is above average. But he needs to learn how to hit consistently against top-level competition. And unfortunately, I don't have the patience nor the time to have him work that out at the major league level anymore. He needs to work that out in AAA. So I have a need in center field. And I'm not going into 2025 with another platoon option or a platoon situation in left because we can't take Brandon Marsh and put him in center because he can't play every day because he can't hit left-handed pitching. So we have a right fielder, and that's it. And everything else in the outfield is up in the air. So I need Justin Crawford to fit back into center field. I need to figure out my left field option, which I'm going for Alex Verdugo. I know it's not the popular name. He's not the popular choice. But we also have some young players in our system right now that are coming up. I don't need Verdugo long, and I don't need... Juan Soto is a different thing. If the Phillies could find a way to signing Soto, that'd be awesome. I believe he's narrowed his search down to 4 teams. Actually, they're expecting him to sign a contract any day now, either between the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers. Is it the Red Sox? Is the 4th team? I'm not sure who the 4th team was, but I know the Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers are the 3. So I know he's expected to sign a contract any day. I would love for him to be a Philly. That would solve all of my outfield needs. I would put him in left field. I would put Brandon Marsh and Austin Hayes platooning in center. That's what I would do. But right now, I can't bank on that. That's living in fantasy land. I can't bank on a Juan Soto. So I need to solve my left field problem. I need to solve my center field problem. I need to solve my third base problem. I need to solve my 5th starter who can pitch also as a 3 or 4. I need to solve my backup catcher problem, and I also need to solve my bullpen problems. So the Phillies have a lot of problems they got to solve in 25. Absolutely, 100%. A lot of problems. A lot more problems to solve this year than did last year. Or maybe they had the same amount of problems last year and we just ignored it, or their theories were wrong. But Crochet would be a outstanding addition to the rotation for the right price. I am not prepared to move off of any of the young talent at all. I am prepared to move off of Alec Boehm. I am prepared to move off of Brandon Marsh. You take Logan O'Hoppe with him too. I'm prepared to move off of them for a Crochet trade. But I don't think the White Sox are prepared to do that. Now, Boehm, maybe Boehm would kind of pique their interest. But they're not going after Brandon Marsh. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Phillies do with this. As I said, the hot stove is heating up. I don't know, man. Do we need a number 5 starter? Why not give a young guy a chance? Okay, Barbara, thank you. I got off on a rant, and I forgot to add in the Andrew Painter thing. So the other reason that I need a 5th starter, who again, Barbara, let's be clear. I need a 5th starter who can also be a 3rd and a 4th. I don't need a Matt Moore or Chase Anderson. I need some versatility around that rotation. I need to be able to slide this guy up and down. The only 2 positions I don't need covered are 1 and 2. They are locked down. Everything else, in my opinion, is up in the air. So I need this guy, whoever I do sign, to potentially pitch as a 3, 4, or 5. Right? In a perfect world, it'd be a 5. But I need him to be multifaceted. Now, as far as the Andrew Painter issue, and I brought this up and I totally forgot to mention it. I fully expect Andrew Painter, barring any setbacks, I fully expect Andrew Painter to be a member of the Phillies at some point during the 25 season. I don't expect him to be on the opening day rotation. There's just no way you can justify that, Barbara. The guy has not faced live high competitive hitting in 2 years. The Arizona Fall Wing doesn't count, right? He has not faced live competitive pitching in 2 years. So to start him off and on the Phillies rotation right out of spring training, I don't care if he's throwing 100 miles an hour with a huge break on his fastball. I don't care about any of that. He needs to spend, I would say, a crash course in April. Reading, 2 starts in Reading, 2 starts in Lehigh, and then if all is well, we bring him up. But I'm starting him in the minors. I have to. Now, he'll be with the Phillies in camp. He will see spring training action. He will throw in spring training. But I am not putting him on my opening day rotation. I just can't afford that. I just don't feel that that's a viable option right now for the Phillies. And for Andrew Painter, you can't do that to him. So I need to go out and find a fifth starter. And we can blame Dave Dombrowski for this, obviously, with the Taiwan Walker mess that we're in right now, that we're going out to find a fifth starter. But the questions still do arise around Ranger Suarez. So, Barbara, I understand what you're saying. Giving a young guy a chance. Now, Mick Abel is also a name that I've thrown around this offseason. I want Mick Abel part of the Phillies next year. I don't care if he's ready. I don't care if he's not ready. I want him part of the Phillies because I don't want my former first-round draft pick in 2020 to start his 6th year in the minor leagues. It's time to understand what Mick Abel is and what he isn't. I don't think another year in the minor leagues is going to unlock Mick Abel. Get him up to the major league level. I'm not saying make him a starter. I have a position in my bullpen right now for him as a long reliever. Start him off in the bullpen. He could be a viable option in the bullpen as a long reliever for the Phillies. But Mick Abel needs to be part of the Phillies 2025, just so we can know for sure what the hell he is. If he's nothing, then we move on from him. If he's something, finally we got him. But I don't know what a 6th year sitting in the minor leagues is going to do for Mick Abel. I really don't. It's time. Shit or get off the pot, Mick. All right? It's funny, his first name is Mick, just like Morandini. Anyway, but it's time. It's time to find that out. So, improve the bullpen and get a real left fielder, center fielder like a Bader. The bullpen needs to be improved too. I'm looking at Jake Junis as my closer, or my setup guy, and I'm looking at Kaylee Jansen as my closer. Again, but Barbara, my bullpen has roles in it, and that's a problem with the Philadelphia Phillies, Barbara. We've talked about this. No closers coming to Philadelphia unless he's going to be the closer. There's no real big-time arms coming to this town who are back end of the rotator, or back end of the bullpen specialists. They're not coming here unless they know that they're going to be pitched in the roles that they're trained to pitch. So we got to establish roles in the bullpen to attract some of these bullpen arms too. And with Rob Thompson at the damn helm again, I don't see that happening. So there's a lot more going on than just going out and signing. Last year was Josh Hader. Everyone was clamoring. We want Josh Hader. Bring Josh Hader here. Josh Hader was never coming here because Josh Hader wasn't going to be the closer. And he knew that because there's no roles in his bullpen. Josh Hader could close today, be setting up tomorrow. Be a long reliever on Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? There's no roles for these guys. So that's a problem. Unless he sets roles and says, this is what it's going to be. You're a long reliever. You're a middle reliever. You're the setup guy. You're the 6th inning guy. You're the closer. Unless that happens, I don't know who the Phillies are going to attract here. Now, in my scenario with Jake Junis and Callie Jansen, they have set up the roles, and that's what the roles are going to be. I already have my long relievers, my middle relievers, my 6th, 7th inning, and then my back end guys. You remember how they used to do that back in the day? Remember that? Daniel checking in. Are the Bucks cooked? The Bucks, as in Tampa, Pittsburgh, the Bucks, Milwaukee. This is the Milwaukee. I would say all 3 of them are cooked, but absolutely the Milwaukee Bucks are cooked. Absolutely. Jackson Char for MVP. Do you think so? I disagree. Alec Boehm to the Brewers. For who? Who's it going for? I have not heard that. I've heard Alec Boehm's name mentioned in the Garrett Crochet trade to the White Sox. I've also heard Alec Boehm's name mentioned going to the Dodgers, but I didn't hear anybody they were getting back. I don't know why he'd be sent to the Dodgers, but I did hear his name mentioned in a trade to the LA Dodgers. Doesn't look like Sal, because I am not Sal. I am MattyB. I am the host of the Final Word. That's where you're at. Yep, they never actually named the roles of the bullpen long, and that was a problem. And that was a problem ever since Rob Thompson's been here, Barbara. And that will continue to be a problem that will plague this team until it is done, until there are roles that are set. So somebody comes in and says, you know what? You're my middle reliever, or you're my long reliever. The baseball purist out there, and Al's one of those guys. Al will tell you it's baseball. I heard that crap coming out of his mouth all baseball season. That's baseball. Well, you know what? That is baseball. But baseball is the most baseball players are the most creatures of habit probably in all professional sports, especially pitchers. Baseball pitchers are the most creatures of habit in all professional sports. They need to know, because every day is a routine day for them. Every day is a certain thing they do to prepare for their next outing. And when you're in a bullpen and you're in a bullpen situation and you're asked to appear in a game in certain different, don't forget, every time you come into a game or every role of the bullpen is completely different. A closer's preparation is going to be different than a long reliever's preparation, different than the setup guy. So these pitchers got to know these roles going into their training routines and their daily routines. And I think when you don't assign those roles, when you don't give players those roles, it messes with their minds. And the worst thing you can do to a baseball pitcher is mess with their mind. But we do it here every season. Rob Thompson and his miracle ways and his analytical nonsense and phooey messes with their minds. And you saw it, I thought, in play during the NLDS. I thought Hoffman and Kerkering were victims of no roles in the bullpen. They didn't know what they were coming into every day. And honestly, I said it back in March that was going to somehow affect the end of our season, and I think it did. So Phillies are in play right now. They're trying to potentially make some moves. It should be a big offseason. The Phillies fans should expect a big offseason. This team is not a World Series champion right now. There's not even a World Series contender. Well, I guess it is a contender. They made the playoffs. But a lot of work to be done. And could the first domino of the fall be Garrett Crochet, the young pitcher from the Chicago White Sox? Could he be on his way to Philadelphia to potentially fix our rotational needs? We'll have to wait and see. Dodgers used 40 pitchers this year and then still won while they're healthy. Well, okay, you're comparing the world champions to the Phillies. You're comparing a team that throws out Freddie Freeman, Ohtani, and Mookie Betts on a daily basis to a team that did what we did. So there's other pieces in play too, Barbara. I understand what you're saying. I'm not telling you that that's the only reason why the Phillies didn't win. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I thought it went a long way, and I really believe that. But also the fact that none of our star players consistently played like star players all last season, that had a lot to do with the fact that we didn't win a World Series either. But it's a good time of the year, I guess. I want baseball season to come back. But at least we can start talking about it again in the hot stove stuff. The baseball awards, as I mentioned, are in full swing. Tomorrow, a big day around Major League Baseball. 4 different postseason awards will be given out to include the all MLB teams, both the NL and the AL. The Phillies have 9 players nominated on the all NL team for 2024. Let's see if any of them actually make it. And then, of course, later on in the month, we'll get everybody else out of the way with Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, DH of the Year, and Reliever of the Year. So Phillies have some people in play for those as well. So gotta love it. Baseball is a long season, 6 months long, but it's a very long off season. It's a very short off season. So you get the best of both worlds there. We got to start holding Harper, Schwarber, and JT, etc. accountable. Interesting point that you make here, Barbara. Got to start holding Harper, who just won a Silver Slugger. You got to start holding Schwarber, who I think is a finalist for the DH of the Year in the National League. And you got to hold JT accountable, who missed and only played 129 games last season, the lowest of his career due to injury. Interesting point here, because especially with Schwarber and JT, both entering the final years of their contracts in 2025. I think that's a side story to this offseason that I would be very interested to see what the Phillies do. I do not advocate him re-signing neither one of them, and I would actually be entertaining the option of potentially moving Schwarber this offseason. Because, as I said, I don't have we have DHs aplenty on this team right now. Harper can become a DH. We can go and move someone to first. Move Bowman to first, make Harper the DH. I mean, we have options. DH is such a easy fillable position on a team like this. But I'm not all in on re-signing Schwarber. I'm certainly not all in on signing JT either. And I think it kind of snuck up on some people that both Schwarber and JT are entering their final year of their contracts. So this window of winning that we've talked about, this window of winning that's been open since 2022, is going to start closing. And it's going to start closing this year. Some decisions are going to have to be made with players like JT and Kyle Schwarber this season. What do you do with them? Are they lame ducks? Obviously, they will be. They won't. I don't foresee any of them getting signed this offseason. But do you potentially move one of them? Now, if Al is still listening, I'm about to bring up a sore subject or a point that I've not been able to kind of get over myself. We had JT's replacement. We had him here. He was hanging out, and he was sent to the California Angels in exchange for Brandon Marsh. So Logan O'Hoppe, and again, I'm bringing up his damn name, could be in line if we still had him. Could be in line this season as a transitional year for taking over for JT Realmuto. Now we don't have an option, a starting catcher in-house right now that's ready to step in for JT at the end of 2025. We don't. We got a kid down there at low A in Eduardo Tate that might be ready in about 2 years, maybe 3. And we have Jordan Disson hanging around in the system somewhere. We got the kid that was from the Yankee system that was cut and picked up by the Phillies. He's a pretty decent prospect. There's another prospect. His name escapes me down in what is he at? Down in Reading or Jersey Shore. He's an interesting prospect as a catcher. The Phillies have a few hot commodities in the system with catching, but none of them are major league ready. And none of them are major league ready in 26 either, I don't think. So what do you do with JT? I think that his problems with injuries this season, which weren't, they weren't extreme, but they were a problem. They were more so a problem this year than they have been any other year. But I think those problems are just going to get worse. He's not getting younger, and his knees are now starting to break down. So what do you do with catching? And what do you do with JT? Is JT or I should say, is the Phillies' lack of catching depth within the organization or major league ready catching depth within the major league system? Is that enough to re-sign JT to a 2 or 3 year contract and just pray to God his knees hold up? Or what are you doing about your catching situation after 2025? The backup, don't even get me started on that fool Stubbs. Hopefully he's run out of here this year and we bring in James McCann, who's a free agent, or we just give it to Rafael Marchand and make him the catcher, the backup catcher, and potentially make him the new starter in lieu of until Tate is ready in 25. But this season it starts. In 2025, it starts. JT and Kyle Schwarber will both be free agents at the end of the 25 season. The window of winning is starting to close. What are the Phillies going to do? Does that make them go more all in this year than they maybe normally would? Does that spell good for the potential prospects of getting a Juan Soto this year? Because the Phillies are starting to now kind of fear losing some assets because some contracts are coming off the books. And I believe in 26, Castellanos is at the end of 26. He's a free agent. So the contracts are going to start falling off the core of this team. And the contracts of those players begin to start coming off the books starting at the end of the 25 season. Does that propel the Phillies in a certain way this offseason? Does that make them more bullish and give them more balls than they normally would? We're going to have to wait and see. I think it's all interesting stuff, and I'm glad it's starting to kind of heat up again. Yup, first base and DH types are, yeah, they really are. I mean, I'm not, and we have the DH. Hell, Bryce Harper could be DH tomorrow, and I would have no problem with Harper being a DH. I would have no problem if you had to, which again, offensively, I don't want him on the team anymore, but I would have no problem making Bohm the first baseman. Absolutely none. And then we could find a third baseman. Hell, we could get Urshela to be the third baseman like I wanted to, or hell, go out and sign Bregman, to be the third baseman and try to bridge that way. But yeah, I'm not really concerned about it either. O'Hoppe now they have Darnell. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, what are you going to do? No, they can't re-sign JT, make this his last year here. I agree. But is it that easy though, Barbara? Because does that signal the end of the window closing or window being closed? Do you re-sign Schwarber? Don't forget, it's not just JT, and they're not probably going to be able to afford both, right? It's probably a situation where one is going to go. So again, with that philosophy, does one of them get moved before they're a free agent? Do we make a move with one of them in the offseason? Or at the very least bit, do we wait and see where we are at the trade deadline and make a move there with one or both of them? Very interesting situations with those two players. I think very interesting situations. So More to follow on the Phillies as the hot stove is heating up. MLB offseason awards in full swing. They had the general managers meetings a couple weeks ago or last week, and then we also have the owners meetings coming up here in December when all the great moves actually happen. So we'll wait and see what's going on. Steve, where the hell have you been, man? There ain't a damn thing wrong with Marshawn. I never said there was, but he has had injury problems. But also, there's nothing maybe wrong with him, but there's also nothing concrete about him either. We don't know what he could be in a full season in MLB. Now, with that being said, Steve, I would be 100% okay with giving him the backup job in 2025. Will be 100% okay with it. When he did play last year, he was better offensively than Garrett Stubbs. He was also, I think, a little bit better defensively. The only problem with Marshawn has been his durability and his ability to stay healthy. But I would be 100% okay with giving him the backup gig in 25, without a doubt. So we'll definitely wait and see. Sign Tyler O'Neill, maybe. Yeah, he's available. So good. A lot of good stuff coming down the pike, I think, for the Phillies. And it's just good to talk about baseball again. It really is. As I said, award season is kicking up. Owners meetings there in December. And before you know it, you'll be hearing the smack of the ball into the glove, the crack of the bat, and the Frenchie's Tiki Hut bar sign. You'll be watching that from Baycare Stadium. And it'll be spring training all over again. And then we'll be back at this. So can't wait. Can't wait. All right, let's turn over now. We're going to go quickly through hockey. Not really much to kind of jump into tonight. I'm not going to break the scores down. I don't feel like doing that tonight. But Flyers back at it tomorrow against the Ottawa Senators. And we will have you covered here on the network as we usually do. Where is it? There you go. There is the Clear the Ice schedule for tomorrow. I am back with the post-game against the Senators on Thursday. Sal has you covered on Saturday. And we'll take you into the weekend as we busy day tomorrow, as I said, with the Phillies, of course. But Flyers are back at it tomorrow. And we will be back at it as well on Clear the Ice post-game show. Flyers looking to continue the good vibes, continue the improved play, and potentially, sneakily find their way back into some sort of relevance in the Eastern Conference. But, of course, we temper all this with, it ain't really a complete product. So it's a day-by-day basis here with the Flyers. But with that being said, one of the great things about one of the last great things about being a Flyers fan these days has to be I love baseball and hockey. So do I, Barbara, 100%. And you definitely are at the right place. Let's win the next two. Let's definitely win the next two. But one of the best things about being a Flyers fan, or one of the only good things these days about being a Flyers fan, is the potential of seeing some young players kind of come through here. Some of the young prospects the Flyers have in their organization. We even floated the idea last night about Sam Ersson being available in a potential trade. If he continues to improve and show his worth as number one goalie, would he be better suited for the Flyers if they moved him to aid in the rebuild? With especially the goalie situation for the Flyers, projected wise, pretty stocked. They have 6 potential prospects down there in the various leagues around the world. So does Sam Ersson kind of fit that title or fit that bill to potentially be part of a trade at some point? To help out a team who thinks they're a goalie away. But that's definitely on the table. But tonight, we're going to get into our prospect of the night segment. We take a prospect from the Flyers and the Phillies, and we just talk about him. We introduce you to him if you don't know who he is. Just kind of get you excited about him, I guess. I don't know. And, of course, we're not doing Phillies prospects at this current time of the year, but we will start Phillies prospects in February. We will also start doing our draft target of the week starting in January when we start breaking down the NHL and the MLB drafts. We also will reintroduce the Phillies 2025 Spotlight player cards as we get you ready for the 25 season. So I mentioned this last night on the show. My little break that I've been on since the end of the MLB and NHL drafts are about to end, and I'm about to start churning out all this content and all these products when it comes to breaking drafts down. So I'm enjoying my final 2 months, but tonight. Let's get to the Flyer prospect of the night. He is Noah Powell. That's right. Noah Powell, our 5th round draft pick this year. He currently plays for Ohio State. First year in Ohio State. Not off to a good start. 7 games so far for the Buckeyes. Just 1 assist and a -2. But really is, I thought when he was available in this position in the draft, I liked the fact that the Flyers got him there. I would have been kind of concerned if they would have taken him in the 1st round or the 2nd round, but I thought this was the appropriate position and the appropriate pick for that position. Powell's an intelligent, inside-driven power forward who easily manipulates opponents. He baits defenders into the charge at him that intercepts them with his shoulder and attacks the inside. So he's a right wing who I think we need a lot of. I know on the roster we have a bunch of them, but none of them seem to be working out. And he's a right winger who plays with a little bit of an edge. 6'2", 201 pounds. Again, fits that bill of a player who I want to see kind of crash the net. We lack that here with the Flyers. We don't have any net offense. We lack the ability to go and battle for pucks in the corner. They've been picking that up lately, but they just don't have the players to consistently do that. And they lack the ability, as I mentioned, for the net play. This team is devoid of that. If you just watch the Flyers play, they don't really use the net as part of their offense. And Noah Powell is a player that, if he does make it to the Flyers, which will be in a few years from now, maybe he rounds into a little bit, maybe puts on a few more pounds and works on his game a little bit better. He definitely is that kind of player, that kind of scrappy player that's going to win rebound battles, that's going to be in front of the net, and is going to use his physical play to aid in his offensive play. As I said, through 7 games so far for the Buckeyes in his first year there. Just 18, by the way. He's just a young kid. He's played in 7 games, no goals, and 1 assist, and he's a -2. But Noah Powell, the Flyers' 5th round pick in 2024, is your Flyer prospect of the night. And that was brought to you again by the fine folks over here at It's a Wrap Sports and all the great work we do with hockey. I don't think Torts was too thrilled with Michkov leaking on that goal last night, although I thought it was very heads up. You're talking about the breakaway goal, Steve, where he almost got where he broke kind of early. He abandoned his defensive assignment and saw the breakaway and was almost offsides. Yeah, he probably wasn't. But you know what? Sometimes you got to take those chances, man. Because the hockey players are too young when drafted, they can only hope that they work out. Yeah, it's a total crapshoot. Unless you got the number 1 pick overall. Everything after number 1 overall, Barbara, is a total crapshoot. It could work out or could not work out. More so in hockey than in any other sport. I agree with that. So let's figure out. I'm pretty fired up about Andre and Bonk being on this blue line. Yeah, Oliver Bonk, Emil Andre. I mentioned this last night, Steve. I don't know how you can justify sending Emil Andre back down to Lehigh when Cam York returns. And I think York is going to be back at some point this week. How do you justify sending Emil Andre down? Now, do they make a decision and actually send one of the 3 goalies down? And we don't have 3 goalies on the active roster anymore? I don't know how you do that. I really don't. But Emil Andre definitely deserves to stay in Philadelphia, to stay with the Flyers. He's been playing with his hair on fire. He's definitely rejuvenated that defense. He's kind of giving them a kick in the ass, actually. I love the way he plays. I was watching that. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a Twitter thing out there, a video clip of him and Michkov in practice today, battling each other in a 1v1 drill. It was pretty cool to watch. So I definitely 100% agree with you there. And Oliver Bonk, who is still in London and with the Knights, whatever, I was right, I guess when it comes to the blue line, Steve, the Flyers do have a lot of prospect players that they're trying to kind of weed through. And I guess their philosophy with Bonk was, you know what, he's in major junior hockey. He's not going anywhere. Doesn't count towards his contract. Just leave him there for now. But I really hope Bonk is a permanent part of the team starting next season. Because I don't think a 5th year at juniors is going to help Bonk anymore. But I agree with you. I think the prospect of they would be the D2 would be Bonk and Andre with York and Drysdale as your D1. and then we ship Travis Sanheim off to Siberia, along with Ristolainen and who else? Yeah, ship those guys off. But I agree, to definitely have the prospects of those two playing together makes me excited too. Andre is improving. Very happy with him. Andre Barber, I don't even think he's improving. He's playing like a man possessed. I mean, he's got the skills. He just seems to have like found another like gear. It's incredible, man. It's awesome to see. It really is. I wish Travis Sanheim played like that. But all right, so that was my Flyer prospect of the night. Now we got to get into our final segment, which is my card review. Let's key the music.
Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. What? Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
All right, this is the MattyB card review segment, the daily segment we do here on the Daily Show that we do. This is when I take a card from my vast, massive sports card collection, and we just kind of kick it around a little bit, talk about it, discuss potential financial windfall, discuss potential extrinsic value, and maybe some, just some nostalgia about the card, potentially when I might have picked it up. I have a sports card collection that consists of over 500,000 cards, both in hockey, football, basketball, and baseball. Been an avid sports card collector since I was a child, and we've been doing this segment now for, I guess, coming up on its third week now, and I've had a lot of fun doing it, and I will continue to do it because it makes me feel young again. Zamula can take a hike. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the sports card. Tonight's card is in line with the MLB postseason awards because it's time to talk about some of these players who are being lined up for potential hardware. And, of course, talking about them when they were just coming into the league. And this is one of those cards tonight this is one of the cards that falls in line with the Shohei Ohtanis of the world and the Mike Trouts. Maybe not so much Mike Trout anymore, but 3 years ago, Mike Trout was a hot commodity. You just scooped up everything that Mike Trout's face was on. Juan Soto is another card like this that you just, every time you have an opportunity to pick up a Juan Soto, you pick it up because of the potential, destination of Juan Soto's career. And this player, by far and away, definitely fits in that category. So let's talk about tonight's card. It is the 2018 Topps Aaron Judge Future Stars card. This is his rookie year, but this is not his rookie card. This is his Future Stars card. Topps, his rookie card actually on Topps is a different. Is different. Actually, no, this is not a. I'm sorry, this is not even his rookie card. This is his Future Stars card from 2018. Right now, this card, I just was looking at it not more than 20 minutes ago, is being auctioned off on eBay at the asking price, or the last auction price, is $300 for this card. Again, it's not even his rookie card. His rookie cards are gold. There's various amounts of different styles of his rookie card. There's various amounts of styles of Aaron Judge cards in general. And if you can pick up an Aaron Judge, I don't care what year it's from, you pick it up and you hold on to it, stick it in some plastic, and forget about it. Because when you look at the Aaron Judges, when you look at the Juan Sotos, when you look at the, again, Mike Trout, maybe from a lesser point, maybe 3 years ago, these are the cards that have the value that the Mike Schmidts, George Bretts, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnsons did back when I was a kid. These are the cards you stick in a shoebox or you stick in protective paper somewhere and just hold on to them. You look at this card quite a lot like I looked at the 87 Mark McGwire when I was a kid, his rookie card out of that collection. Now, of course, we already know what happened to Mark McGwire's career, but that's not saying that's going to happen to Aaron Judge. But you scoop these cards up anywhere you can. And obviously, I have this card here. Again, currently on eBay right now, I'm watching an auction. I've been kind of peeking in on it. It's auctioning off. Currently, asking price is $300. And with the potential of Judge winning an MVP and the potential of Judge winning a Hank Aaron Award, his cards just go up in value with each award. So now, baseline, I'm looking at a site right now that this card is being sold for $7. Because again, it's a future. It's very I think it's very well done. Topps that year had great. I think the design was awesome for Topps that year, and again, I like this card a lot. So there it is. There's your card of the night. It's the Aaron Judge Future Stars card, and here's the actual card in its physical form. We talk about this a lot. Again, I'm not a Yankees fan. I hate the Yankees, but I'm not walking away from an Aaron Judge. Certainly, I'm not going to do that. But this card right here. Again, we talked about the aspects of what grades a card and how a card is graded. None of my cards are. They're all raw. But when you look at what we look at to make a card a PSA 10 or a PSA 9, you look at the centering. You look at the edges. You look at the cuts, how the card was cut. This card is pretty fresh. This card is pretty straight. This card is pretty perfect looking. I'm not calling it a PSA 10, but it's definitely a 9 or above. And again, these are the cards you'll hold on to. And here's my Aaron Judge Future Stars card. I think I have like 7 of these. So so there you have it. There's the Aaron Judge 2018 Topps Future Stars card of Aaron Judge. And that's MattyB's card review segment of the night. So there you have it. Wow, you have quite a collection, huh? Mason. Well, Barbara, you don't even have no idea how I've talked about this before. My collection, again, this is not all mine. It's mine and my stepson's. We combined the collections this past year. And I remember when we decided to do it, there was tubs and shoeboxes and boxes of cards everywhere. So I used to be a soldier, so I have this, I have attention to detail syndrome that I was it OHD or whatever it is. I don't even know what it's called. But I kept seeing these boxes. I kept walking by them. I kept looking in closets, seeing them. And I would look in it every now and again, and I'd see a Ohtani just strewn in the bottom of a box. And eventually it just got the best of me. I was like, I can't look at this anymore. I got to find a home for these cards. I got to organize them. I got to get them together. So I moved them all into my office. And I took time when I could, here and there, sometimes at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting in here, organizing and sorting cards, putting cards for baseball in team order, and then taking all the ones that had potential value and putting them in binders. Doing the same thing with hockey, taking all the valuable ones out and putting them in the binders. And I did that for probably 3 months, off and on. Then I had to order the boxes to put them in, the binders to put them in, the pages to buy and all that. The thing took about 3 months for me to do. I was seeing baseball cards in my sleep. That's how much I was going over them. But I did it. I got them all organized. I got them all separated. I got them all stored. They're protected. And now I have the opportunity to share them. Again, my stepson and my collection with you guys to kind of just, as I said, walk down memory lane at times. We've gone through some cards. The Pete Rose card of 87 was a very memorable card for me. When we do get to the McGuire of 87 Topps, I remember that exact card I'm going to show you when I do that card is the card I opened up in a pack when I was 12 years old. 13 years old. When I was 13 years old, I opened that exact card up. And the fact that I still have that card at 25, it's pretty cool, And, but those are the kind of things with sports card collecting that always appeal to me, and it's the ability to pass them on to other generations. And that's what we're doing here. So organizing this collection wasn't necessarily for me; it was more for him and his kids going forward. So, but yeah, it was a great, and I felt such a sense of accomplishment when I did it, when I finished it. I mean, Barbara, when I tell you there were cards on cards, you wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it. So that is the origins of the MattyB Sports Card Collection segment. And now we're going to have some fun with it. So I can tell you're an organized person. You're probably a leader in your job. Well, yeah, kind of. But anyway, there you go. Listen, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Great show. We talked a little bit about your Philadelphia Eagles and the Fugazi. The Fugazi, or Fugazi, whatever you want to call it, Fugazi, that they might be. That how the season starts tomorrow against the Washington Commanders. How this next 7 games will define them. And this game tomorrow night will certainly define their season. and about how their head coach, Nick Sirianni, by my definition, and by I think a lot of people's definition, is not a winner. He is not, because he hasn't won. And how your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, though a good quarterback, a starting caliber quarterback, is far from an elite, is far from an MVP candidate, but yet is being paid as an elite quarterback. We rolled through all that. We also rolled through some Phillies talk. The hot stove's heating up in baseball. Some players could be on the move. Some players could be on the way here. We talked about the Flyers briefly as they'll get ready to get back at it tomorrow. And don't forget, we got the post game here on It's a Wrap with the Clear the Ice. Went over your Flyers prospect of the night, Noah Powell. And we did our sports card collection segment. So that is it for me. I want to thank you all. Have a great rest of your night and a outstanding tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Don't forget, 4 p.m. That was the wrong one. Let me put this one up. 4 p.m. for the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. And then immediately following the Flyers Senators game, I will be here for the Clear the Ice program as well. So, and then, of course, we got Eagles football. So busy day on the network tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow. I'll talk to you later.
I'll be coming up hot for a minute. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Drop the top when I'm in it. Everybody know the drop when I'm in it. Yeah, I go so yo. Everybody know I'm on. You know when the click through. Try to send this possibly a trophy, but